Hey all, Late Night here, another Rise of Iron Destiny video. This time we're going to be talking about the changes to artifacts in the Rise of Iron. Now up until this point, artifacts have just been another item in your gear set that affects your light level, and it's kind of disappointingly increased your chances of generating an orb, but only under very, very specific circumstances, using a certain type of grenade, using a certain type of precision kill. And honestly, I want to say a lot of people have not paid attention to that so much just because of the ability not being as important as, say, the intellect, the discipline, or the strength, or the light level itself. Now, Bungie has acknowledged that artifacts have sort of fallen short of what they were envisioning when they added that new piece of gear to our armor sets. And due to that acknowledgement, they're making a pretty major overhaul coming the Rise of Iron. Now, while we have no indication that previous artifacts, like already existing artifacts from the Taken King, are going anywhere, I'm sure they'll still stay in the game. We've got 8 big new artifacts with major changes coming in the Rise of Iron. Now, while these 8 new artifacts will continue to give minor perks and small stat bonuses, much like the other artifacts did, each artifact, which is named after a specific Iron Lord, will have a major effect on the way players play the game. Furthermore, each of these 8 artifacts are going to be class agnostic, meaning you can use them on whatever class you want, regardless of what the original named Iron Lord was. Alright, let's jump in, let's take a look at each of these artifacts. Now you're going to recognize the names of these artifacts because they share a name with each of the Year 1 Iron Banner reward weapons. Just another fun lore connection to keep in mind as we go through and learn a little bit more about these Iron Lords and what their artifacts do for us. First up, we have the Memory of Radagast. Described as the first among equals, Radagast the Titan was the King Arthur of the group, and strode into battle with his mighty sword in hand. His artifact adds a new ability for your sword-heavy weapons, letting you reflect energy-based projectiles, including everything from an ogre's blast to a crucible opponent's rocket. Now, among these items that can be deflected, it has been confirmed that the Nova Bomb, the Golden Gun, the Shadow Shot, hammers from a Sunbreaker are all possible candidates to be deflected by a sword when fielding this artifact. Personally, I think this gives a lot more power to swords. It makes them a lot more viable as heavy weapons, gives them a lot more flexibility. So I'm excited to see what we can do with this. Deflecting rockets, guys. Oh man, that's so exciting. Okay, next up we have the Memory of Paran. The field commander of the Iron Lords was a consummate strategist, and her situational awareness went even beyond fellow hunters. If you bear her artifact into battle, then enemy guardians with full supers are highlighted yellow, and all enemies with low health are highlighted red for easy target. Now, it doesn't say whether this highlighting is going to show you through walls, or if it's just going to be if you're looking directly at them. I think the through walls would be especially powerful in an elimination game type or Trials of Osiris when you know where they are, you know that they've got their super, or if you're working together and team shotting your opponent and you see that they're blinking, they're highlighted red, and you know you want to take that one out. I think this is really great for those team-centric elimination game types. It's going to be great in Crucible, and it's going to be great in PvE as well. So you'll know those red highlight enemies, you want to finish them off first so they can stop doing damage. I think it's a good strategic overlook type of ability. Could be really interesting. Next we have Memory of Jolder, a particularly close companion of Saladin. Jolder was a mighty Titan champion who ran bravely into battle without a thought for her own safety. Her artifact bears an ability that many players have longed for since the game's launch, the ability to completely eliminate sprint cooldown, allowing your Guardian to ceaselessly charge ahead. Now first up, I think this shows that the sprint cooldown is not a bug. It's a feature, and it prevents constant sprinting. Now if you want to constantly sprint like Jolder did and run into those battles, you'll have to equip her artifact, and you will have no more sprint cooldown. You can run anytime you want to. So that'll be pretty powerful. If you want to get somewhere fast, yeah, this is what you want to do. Next we have the Memory of Sylmar. Sylmar was proud, wrathful, and brilliant, and the architect of the Iron Temple that sits atop Fellwinter's Peak. He was a defense-oriented Titan, always looking for a way to offer better protection. As such, his artifact provides a unique ward, the ability to dramatically reduce any damage inflicted through damage over time effects. It should be a welcome deterrent, especially since the infamous Thorn hand cannon is returning in year 3. So this decreases those damage over time effects. Now it mentions the Thorn because, I can say it, everybody hated the Thorn, but it's going to reduce that damage over time effect. It's also going to reduce other damage over time effects. Think Firebolt Grenade, Envenomed Smoke from the Night Stalker. Just anything that does constant damage, this artifact is going to be the counter for it. Next, Memory of Fellwinter. The great enigma of the Iron Lords, Fellwinter was an Iron Lord with good intentions, but sometimes questionable and unusual ways of interacting with the light. The Warlock discovered the mountaintop retreat that would become the Iron Lord's home. His artifact offers the most dramatic gameplay modifier. Lose your super, but gain an extra grenade and melee charge, a boost to all your stats, and orbed recharge your grenade and melee abilities. So that's a big one. Your super is gone. You won't have a super anymore, but you'll have an extra grenade. And I take this to mean a third grenade if you have some other gear piece that gives you a second grenade. And it gives you an extra melee attack. And I'm guessing that's a third extra melee attack if you have something like the Sealed Ahamkara Grasp. So very powerful. Plus, it gives a boost to all your stats. And I'm guessing that's going to be something like +1 to your armor, recovery, and agility as an example. Plus, as you pick up orbs, you're not going to charge your super, you're going to charge your melee and your grenade abilities. So you're going to have grenades pretty much all the time. You're going to be slapping people pretty much all the time. It's going to be an interesting gameplay change. Next, we have the Memory of Gillian. The hunter Gillian may have been a sullen pessimist, but few doubted his assessment of the situation on the ground, no matter how dire. Guardians that wield his artifact gain detailed radar at all times, and radar persists when aiming primary weapons. So that's basically, you're going to have third eye on all of your primary weapons, and your radar is going to be keen scout pretty much all the time. So you can see those chests. You can see more granularly where the enemies are. It's going to be really interesting to get in there and how people use that increased awareness, especially in Crucible. Next we have Memory of Skori. If Radagast echoes the legends of Arthur, then Skori is Merlin. This legendary battle bard and warlock inspired her allies with songs and wisdom. Guardians who follow in her footsteps use her artifact to glow with an inspiring light that speeds up super recharge for all nearby allies. So this sounds like a really supportive ability. Stick near your fire team, they will get their supers more quickly. Unfortunately, it sounds like you're going to glow brightly, so that may make you more of a target too. So it's going to be kind of a trade-off there. I'm interested to see how this one plays out. And finally, number 8 is Memory of Temur. Creepy and misunderstood, Temur's warlock powers and demeanor almost recall those of a controlling necromancer. Guardians willing to flirt with Shadow can take up Temur's artifact and transform their melee attack, giving it a chance to turn low-power minions of darkness into allies. These enemy creatures fight at your side, turning their weapons on confused fellow aliens. Another melee attack, a few seconds later, puts them back in their right mind, or the effect expires after 30 seconds. So basically this is freaking mind control on low-level enemies. You want the Thrall to fight for you? Go slap him once, assuming that doesn't kill him. You want Randall the Vandal to be your minion? Go slap him and make him shoot all his friends. This is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Now, this is only a PvE ability. It's not going to work in Crucible worth anything. But in those occurrences where you're getting overwhelmed, you can increase effectively your fire team by a few people by going around and controlling these low-level minions of darkness. They'll be minions of you. I think that's going to be way fun. So those are the 8 artifacts that are coming in Rise of Iron that we know about. Now, you sharp-eyed Guardians out there may have noticed there is a 9th weapon named after an Iron Lord in the Year 1 Iron Banner weapons that isn't mentioned here. And that is Ephrodite, after whom the sniper rifle Ephrodite's Spear is named. Now, why isn't Ephrodite included in these Memory of artifacts? Who knows? Maybe Ephrodite is still around. Maybe Ephrodite survived the battle against Siva and is a surviving Iron Lord, so we don't have a Memory of artifact. Maybe Ephrodite will even come up during the campaign of Rise of Iron. Who knows? I'm going to say your guess is as good as, or maybe even better than mine. Well, that covers all the new artifacts that we know of in Rise of Iron. Thanks for hanging out. If you like this video and this content, feel free to give it a like and a subscribe down below. If you have other theories on why Aphrodite isn't here, or any other thoughts, leave them down in the comments. and I will catch you next time.